All right, so get ready because today we are going deep on the Nigerian-Cameroon chimpanzee.
Oh, cool.
We found this really interesting article about them, and
Yeah.
they sound really fascinating, like not your average chimps at all.
Yeah, they're really something special.
They're critically endangered too, right?
They are, yeah, the most endangered of all the chimpanzee subspecies,
Yep.
actually.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
And the least studied, too.
Really?
Yeah. Most people don't even realize there are 4 distinct subspecies of chimpanzees.
Whoa, 4. I had no idea. I always thought chimp was like, well, just chimp.
Yeah, there are actually 4.
Huh. So, like, what makes these Nigerian Cameroon chimps different from the others?
So for one, they're officially pan-troglodytes ellioti.
Okay.
And they live in a very limited area in southeastern Nigeria and a bit of western Cameroon,
Okay.
places like the Niger Delta, the Igbo forest, that kind of area.
Okay, so a pretty specific and, endangered spot, as you said.
Yeah, definitely.
And the article mentioned some of the challenges they face. What makes them so vulnerable compared to the other chimpanzees?
That's a great question, and we'll definitely get to all the threats they face. But first, let's just get to know them a bit better.
Yeah.
Physically, they look pretty similar to other chinks. Black fur, expressive faces.
Yeah.
But they are a little bit smaller than other chimps
Oh, okay.
and incredibly strong.
Huh.
Perfectly suited for navigating their really dense forest homes.
Ah, so compact, strong climbers. I was really interested in the part of the article about their social structure.
Right.
Something about fission fusion societies. That sounds so wild.
Yeah, it's pretty sci-fi sounding, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's a really cool adaptation, though. Imagine they've got this larger community, but they split off into smaller groups.
Yeah.
Constantly shifting, merging,
Okay.
depending on stuff like food availability or if there are predators around.
Oh, that's interesting. So like a constantly evolving social network based on what they need in the moment.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, so do they keep the same social hierarchies? Even with these changing groups, though?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Researchers are still figuring that out.
Oh, okay.
Remember, they're the least studied. So we're still learning about how their social dynamics work. It's complex.
That is fascinating, and we are just getting started.
Yeah.
The article also mentions some unique behaviors, almost like their own culture specific to this subspecies. Like, what's that all about?
So, yeah, they use tools, of course.
Yeah.
Sticks for fishing out termites, rocks for cracking nuts.
Yeah.
Like a lot of chimps.
Yeah.
But they also have these specific gestures and vocalizations that other chimpanzees don't.
What? Like their own dialect and sign language?
Pretty much, yeah.
That is incredible.
It really is. And it suggests that there's cultural transmission going on.
Okay.
These behaviors are learned and passed down, which is a sign of a complex social structure.
So we've got endangered chimps living in these, dynamic social groups. They use tools and maybe even have their own way of communicating just within their subspecies. It's like a whole hidden world out there.
It really is.
In those forests. What else makes these guys so special?
Speaking of those forests, they eat a pretty diverse diet.
Yeah, when I think of chimps, I always just picture them eating like bananas all day.
Well, they do eat a lot of fruit, but it's not just bananas.
Okay.
It's way more varied than that.
Gotcha.
I mean, they'll eat fruits, leaves, seeds, insects, all sorts of stuff.
Huh. So they're like true omnivores then.
Exactly. And their diet is actually really important for the whole forest ecosystem.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, think about all those fruits they're eating.
Okay.
And as they're traveling around, they're spreading all those seeds.
Yeah.
They're basically helping new trees and plants to grow.
Wow. So they're not just living in the forest, they're helping to shape it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the gardeners of the forest.
That's amazing. But you said they're omnivores.
Uh-huh.
So does that mean they eat meat too?
Yeah, sometimes. They've been seen hunting small mammals,
Oh, wow.
like monkeys or duikers.
Okay.
It's not like a main part of what they eat, but it shows how adaptable they are.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. So we've got these smart social chimps, and they're playing this big role in the ecosystem. But you mentioned earlier that they're facing some threats. What are the biggest challenges for them?
Sadly, one of the biggest threats is habitat loss,
Right.
like deforestation from logging, agriculture, all that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we hear that a lot.
Yeah, it's a big problem for a lot of species. Imagine your home just being bulldozed to make way for, like, a road or a farm.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
That's what these chimps are facing.
It's not just losing their homes, though, right? The article talked about something called habitat fragmentation.
Right. As the forests are cut down,
Yeah.
what's left gets broken up into these little patches, surrounded by human activity.
Oh, I see.
So then it's hard for the chimps to move around, find enough food,
Oh,
connect with other groups, all of which is super important, you know?
Right. It's like their whole world is getting smaller and harder to live in.
Yeah, exactly.
Are people trying to stop this deforestation?
Yeah. Thankfully, there are organizations like the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, the Wildlife Conservation Society. They're doing some great work to try to protect chimpanzee habitats.
Oh, that's good.
They're doing things like setting up protected areas,
Okay.
advocating for sustainable land management, even working with local communities to find other ways to make a living that don't involve cutting down the forests.
Wow, that's great. So it's not just about saving the chimps, it's about finding solutions that work for people too.
It is. Conservation is most successful when everyone benefits, you know?
Yeah, I get that. But habitat loss isn't the only problem, right?
No, unfortunately not. They also face poaching.
Right. The article said something about bushmeat. What is that exactly?
Bushmeat is the meat of wild animals.
No.
Often it's hunted illegally, you know, not sustainably. Chimpanzees are sometimes poached for bushmeat, even though it's illegal. It's a really complicated issue.
Yeah, I can imagine.
There's a lot of factors involved, things like poverty, not having enough food, and sometimes cultural traditions.
It's just sad to think about these really intelligent animals being hunted for their meat. Is there any other reason people poach them?
There is, yeah. The illegal pet trade.
Oh, right.
They're another big threat. Baby chimps are really sought after,
Yeah.
which often means the mother is killed so they can capture the baby.
Wow, that is awful.
It is. It's really cruel and devastating for chimp populations.
How can that even be stopped?
Well, it's going to take a lot of different approaches, things like having anti-poaching patrols,
Okay.
stricter law enforcement. Education's also really important. And again, finding other ways for people to make a living so they don't have to rely on hunting or the pet trade.
Right, dealing with the root of the problem. It sounds like people are really working hard to protect these chimps.
They are.
But the challenges seem huge.
They are big.
Do we have any reason to be optimistic?
Absolutely. There are a lot of dedicated people out there working to protect them, and we see progress being made.
That's good.
But there's one more threat we haven't touched on yet: disease.
Oh, right. The article mentioned that, too.
Yeah.
Why are they so susceptible to diseases, especially ones that come from humans?
Chimpanzees are our closest living relatives. They share about 98.7% of our DNA.
Wow.
That means they can get a lot of the same diseases we do,
Like what?
like the common cold, the flu,
Oh, okay.
and even more serious illnesses.
But if they live deep in the forest, how are they catching these things from us?
Well, humans are moving further and further into their territory.
Right.
So we're coming into contact more often, whether it's through logging, research, or even tourism.
Yeah, I see.
And because chimps live in these tight-knit communities, if one gets sick, it can spread really quickly.
So something like a cold could be really bad for them.
Exactly. It could even wipe out a whole group.
Oh.
So it's super important to be really careful around wildlife.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Especially in areas where endangered animals are struggling to survive.
It's just a lot to take in. They're so intelligent and adaptable.
Yeah, they really are.
And they're facing all these threats. It makes you wonder, what can we even do to help?
Yeah, it really makes you think. I mean, these Nigerian-Cameroon chimpanzees are so incredible. They're so smart, adaptable, and they're so important to their ecosystem.
Right.
But then they're up against all these threats. It's like, is there anything we can even do to help them survive?
It's a tough situation, but I do think there's hope.
Okay.
And we can all do things to make a difference. You know, even small things.
Okay, I'm listening. What can we do?
Yeah.
I can't exactly go to Africa and be a park ranger.
Well, first of all, just knowing about them, spreading the word, that's huge.
Yeah.
Talking to people about what you've learned, sharing articles online.
The more people who know about the Nigerian-Cameroon chimpanzee, the better chance we have of making a real change.
So awareness is key.
It is, for sure. And another thing is supporting the organizations that are already doing great work on the ground.
Right, like the Nigerian Conservation Foundation and the Wildlife Conservation Society.
Exactly. Even a small donation can help them a lot.
Do they use volunteers, too?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of conservation organizations rely on volunteers.
Okay.
You might be surprised how many ways you can help, even from far away.
Cool.
Some need help with research, analyzing data, fundraising, even social media stuff.
Wow, that's good to know. It feels better knowing there are things we can do.
There are, for sure.
So besides donating or volunteering, are there things we can do like in our everyday lives to help?
Yeah, I mean, our daily choices make a difference.
Okay.
Supporting sustainable products, reducing our carbon footprint, being mindful about what we consume.
Yeah.
All of that contributes to a healthier planet, which is good for all species, including chimps.
So it's all connected.
Exactly. What we do here matters, even for a species living in a forest far away.
Yeah, this deep dive has really been an eye-opener.
Good.
I have so much more appreciation for these Nigerian-Cameroon chimpanzees now.
That's great to hear.
And I feel like it's our responsibility to help protect them.
That's the spirit. It's about recognizing how amazing the natural world is and realizing that we all have to do our part to protect it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's been a fascinating journey, and I hope everyone listening is feeling inspired to learn more and to take action.
For sure.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of the Nigerian-Cameroon chimpanzee.
My pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep making a difference.